the executive and even executing governor of Edo State, distinguished Senator Monday Okpebholo Akpako Rescue Edo State, the deputy governor, a young man, ever loyal and supportive, deputy governor of Edo State, Right Honorable Dennis Idahosa. Now let me appreciate, and this is the first time I will have the opportunity in an outdoor gathering to acknowledge the tested and now trusted state chairman of the only surviving party in Edo State, Emperor Jared Tenebe, EJT. Yesterday, after reviewing his activities when he was acting, the party in Edo State unanimously reaffirmed his leadership as now elected chairman of the state. All the previous way were apprenticeship. Now it is confirmed. Congratulations. Let me also congratulate the tallest secretary, state secretary that Edo has ever produced. Also tested and trusted, Lawrence Engineer Uka. Of course, there's a young man who turned out to be extremely fast liner. When I listen to him make political speeches, I'm like, which day this will enter political school? The deputy state chairman of APC Edo State, Honorable Sylvester, the woman leader, ever looking young and radiant, effective, tested and now trusted woman leader of Edo State, sorry, national woman leader and the state woman leader. You are welcome. I acknowledge all our leaders, Odubu, Orohide, Imaswe. I could go on. And of course, I have made a mistake. I hope you will forgive me. The one and only Right Honorable Blessing Agbebaku, the Speaker of Edo State House of Assembly. Now, please listen. When the chairman spoke, you even spoke. He reminded all of you that journey today doesn't mean you are apprentice in politics. You have decided to leave a leadership position to join us in APC. And that, I believe, is informed by the saying that it is better to be a small fish in a big pond than to be a big fish in a small pond. The best example of who we are as a party and our commitment to inclusivity is the fact that the Speaker of Edo State House of Assembly is also one of those who reunited with us just about a year ago, and he remained the Speaker. Do you need any better evidence than that? I want to congratulate you, Chairman, and you, Your Excellency, the Governor, because if you are not providing the right leadership and people are monitoring sentiment in beer parlors, in local markets, in motor parks, about your stewardship, which is making APC stronger and stronger, nobody will leave his place to come and join. Therefore, their decision, including leaders of various parties, is affirmation of confidence of the people of Edo State across party divide on your stewardship under 15 months in office. So, as they say, the money shows the day. Edo is completely now in a very safe hand. The hand of Governor Okpebholo. Do you agree that Edo is in a safe hand?
Now governor, when they walk, now he will follow.
Now each time we acknowledge and point out all the things that have been enumerated that the governor is doing, renewing our hope, giving practical expression to the concept of development by eye mark. You see it with your eye, not hear it with your ears. He will always remind us that the money is using is not borrowed money. And this is as a result of the transparency which President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has injected into the management of the Nigeria Federation account. And he always asks us, if we like what he's doing, we should say, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, thank you very much. Eshe Pugbo, Mugode, Dalu, Obohia, to our president. But let me just conclude. Listen to this. If there is anybody left, make it hear with you, I won't talk so. Now truth, I won't talk again so. You heard not too long ago the son of a former vice president who is also a presidential aspirant, always an aspirant. Sometimes a candidate, sometimes an aspirant, but he's never neutral. But he has never won. The son of a former city vice president, a founding father of PDP, abandoned his father and joined APC so that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu can continue to do the good job he has started. If you think there is an accident, listen to this. About 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, the first child and a daughter of the first president of Nigeria in 1999 to 2007, she decided to resign from PDP and decamp to APC. So I ask you, young ones, if the children, hey, listen, I want you to go home with a statement, right? If the children of opposition leaders, of a former president of PDP platform, decide to leave their fathers and join APC, now you want a man there. By the way, carry your papa don't come out of house. By the way, carry pikin don't come out of house. Now you want to stay there. Our people get proverb say pikin. Why Greece say may they use the forehead to break coconut. He does not survive to eat out of it. So when you see the children of presidential candidate and presidential hopeful leaving the place, please tell whoever is left, make it come and join. Oh, the doors are still open, but it's getting closer and closer and closer. Lastly, you know they have been crying and distorting facts about what is going on with the next election. They had invested all their money to hack INEC portal. Now that has been blocked. So if they constructed their hope or using a Kenyan the way they did in 2015, that their hope of rigging electronically has now been dashed. We must continue to deepen our grassroots support. That is why, as I listen to the chairman, Jared Tenebe, calling out one by one state leaders, local government leaders who have come to join us, world leaders, it cannot be better than that. It remains for me to reassure you that the determination of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reposition Nigeria is reinforced every day. Have you heard that the governor of Adamawa State, the home state of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, have you heard the secret that the governor had become to APC? Have you heard that word? What does it signify to you? If today, God forbid, our governor was to say he's no longer comfortable in APC, will you have comfort? So the reason they talk and be say, this matter is very practical. With Tinubu as our president, after carrying out a comprehensive, painful surgery on the Nigerian economy, every wise patient must follow up to ensure that the doctor continue to administer the medication as he regain strength and begin to recover, so that Nigeria will remain what it was destined to be, the truly giant of the black world and the biggest economy in Africa. So I will put the question to you. When you go home today, will you remind anybody that is left that where the son of Atiku Abubakar has become, abandoning his father, that you cannot remain there? Will you do so? You should do so. Then you remind them that in Ogun State, that the daughter of the former president, who himself already tore his PDP card in camera, in the open, that even the daughter has come to join APC. So if you know any daughter who is still there, tell them to emulate the daughter of the first president. If you know any boy who is still there, tell him to emulate the son of Atiku Abubakar. Now, lastly, Mr. Governor, I know we shouldn't keep you standing. I just remember something. Do you notice that those who are parodying themselves as leaders of ADC, beginning from Edo State, one of them was formerly a governor of this state. Not being the 30% of Edo civil servant salaries. Was the money ever refunded? Which is why when he contested as vice presidential candidate to Shekarau, in his house, at least he has a wife, he has children, he has 4 gate men, he has cooks, he has children, at least they are up to 15. In that election, he got 3 votes, which means members of his household did not even vote for him. You know him. Now you talk about fear don't give me mention name, but when you talk, it be like saying not true. All right. I should talk me gree. So when I see people like that, who cannot win their household to vote for them, I say to myself, who go be mumu to follow people like that? So that fight you were referring to, it was two old men I saw fighting. When I see elders abusing themselves in the presence of children, I say true, ADC don't kaput. So there is no party. Like I said yesterday, who is there? Okay, Labour Party, I thank you for coming. Because the word that the court has now restored as the authentic Labour Party chairman was a PDP Minister of Finance, Minister of State Finance. Is that a branch of Labour? Are Labour not standing for just society? So I want to thank you for leaving Labour Party to come and join the truly progressive party. And for you to understand, tell your market women and even civil servants, with the new tax reform of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, local women will no longer pay tax. If your income is less than 50 million, you get any market woman you know, in Oba market who get 50 million, you know anyone for Yanga market, you know anyone for Ulea market. So this government is government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Now come from where they talk and do. Now here we dey follow.
Now I conclude by asking you to join me to sing this song. This is Asiwaju's song, because we have already separately endorsed him and endorsed him and endorsed him. On your mandate we shall stand. On your mandate we shall stand. On your mandate, Bola, on your mandate, Tinubu, on your mandate we shall stand. Bola, oh, on your mandate we shall stand. On your mandate we shall stand. Tinubu, on your mandate, Boza, on your mandate, Baga, on